Hello, guys. I know this isn't a typical thing I post on this channel. I typically post to stream bots. The reason why I do that is because I play on a PlayStation, and it's easier just to record and upload the videos instead of saving the recordings on my system to watch back later of like a gameplay moment or something. Anyhow, I am here to do a small talk that I have seen on my recommended almost all day today, and it's just annoying. If you see me look over to the side slightly, it's because, well, either A, my head's on the bar, so like my head's gonna be moving, but also B, I have a document thing, is I wanted to type out the ideas that I have at least. For the most part, this is gonna be a freeform video. But on my YouTube feed lately, like all day today, and I used to be a lot more a year or two ago. Um, but essentially, what's been on my feed a lot is just there's been a weird gender war thing, you know, and that's happened. I think like every generation. To be fair, like I think like everyone grew up with girls have cooties or guys are stinky, you know. I think both sides kind of had to deal with that, right? But I just wanted to talk about it today and say my opinion on it. You know, I know no one asked for it, but yeah, I just wanted to give it to you. So my first thing I wanted to say is both sides have it bad and good in different ways, and to say one does or whatever is stupid. And what I mean by this is like I'm gonna give a clear cut example, right? A guy versus girl. Girls are easier to like you get you get invited to parties easier. And by the way, when I say girls, women, men, or whatever, it's a general statement. There's obviously gonna be exceptions to that rule, but women get invited to parties easier. The only times really men are invited to parties are typically because they know someone. They are throwing the party themselves. One of the girls that were invited, it's her boyfriend, and he felt uncomfortable, whatever, or he just wanted to go. And or you're good at entertaining, you know. So like you have to do something as a guy to be invited to a party. As a girl, you kind of just have to exist. Positive, negative. Flip side, as a girl, you're more likely to be talked to by guys, but that's because I will be honest, I see it a lot personally. You know, a lot of guys are just trying to talk to you to get in your pants or whatever. There are some guys that aren't, obviously. It's a general statement. But, you know, that's a negative there. Flip side, when guys typically talk to, or people typically talk to guys, is because the guy knows something or they want something, which you can take as a negative as well, but it's typically not in a negative way. Like, for example, at my job, I work as a cashier, I do some bussing, whatever. Um, People ask me, oh, like, oh, what's like, you can just, oh, you can, bad example, you could just say I'm an employee. Other example, I play guitar as a hobby, right? I'm not the best at it. I will not, I'll be the first to say I'm not that great at it, right? But, what I will say is that people talk to me about that, right? And they're not trying to, like, get in my pants or whatever, you know? And that's a positive as a guy. You know, when people do want to talk to you, it's typically either because they just want to know something really quickly or because they actually have an interest in whatever hobby you're interested in, which is great. No one's lying to try to get in your pants. Um, Second or third thing, I guess technically, uh, to flip it again, um, it's easier for, oh, perfect example right here. Because I have been through this personally, right? When a woman goes through a problem, like I said, general statements. When a woman goes through a problem, there's a lot of support networks. They talk to each other about it and all that. And I forget his name, but like a psychotherapist put this in perfectly. I'm just gonna quote it straight from him. When a guy has an issue, like let's say you're depressed, right? You're kind of taught from a young age to figure out why you're depressed. Then go out and solve the reason why. If you're depressed because you don't have money, go make more money. If you're depressed because like you don't have a girlfriend, go get a girlfriend. Like solve your issues, right? If you're depressed because you're lonely, make some friends. Um, and like there's that. Like there's tons of examples. That's just a few I wanted to give there. Um, Second point I have written here is no self accountability. Now, that's a blanket statement. Obviously, people have some accountability, but I want to say in a general public, there's very little of it. What I mean by that is we're gonna start with a woman, then go to the guy. For women, typically, one perfect example I can think of because I've heard women talk about this a lot is like when they break up with their boyfriend or whatever, it's always their fault. I guess you can say the same for the other way around, but no, yeah, we'll just say it's for both. It's always their fault. It's always the other person's fault. Either she's a bitch or he's a dick. Um, but back to just being a woman example. Um, girl cheats on guy, gets pregnant with other guy's child. I see this often on the internet. Obviously, it's anecdotal, completely anecdotal, but I feel like if you've been on the internet for a little bit, or even just as long as I have, you will have seen this. Woman gets cheats on her boyfriend or husband or whatever or whoever, right? They are really like want to label themselves. She gets pregnant with another guy. Some of the first things I see is women saying if that man doesn't take care of that child, like the guy that she cheated on, not the guy that she cheated on with, but the guy that she cheated on, if he doesn't take care of that child, he's a deadbeat. He's a terrible person. Instead of thinking, maybe she shouldn't have cheated in the first place. Maybe she should have you should have some self accountability and be like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have cheated in the first place. I wouldn't be in this predicament if I didn't cheat on him in the first place. Other way around, right? Bad not a men. I can use almost the same example, just in reverse, but we're gonna bring in the men real quick, like different example. Um, I see men online, men in general, right? I'm a guy. I feel like I can make this generalizing statement. Obviously, there's some exceptions. Um, we typically do say some really racist and sexist things. We don't mean them in racist or sexist ways, though. I could just be saying that as a gamer. I play a lot of games. I've been in a lot of chat rooms. I've been in a lot of Discord servers. Yeah, but but like I've met Middle Eastern men. I've met people from Finland. I used to play Left 4 Dead with a few people from Britain. I I played Marvel Rivals. I've been playing Marvel Rivals a lot recently. If you can't tell from the videos I've been posting in my VODs I've been posting recently is a lot of Marvel Rivals. Um, and one thing I could say almost all of us men, no matter where we're from, have in common is that we say some really fucked up shit. You know, like I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, but think of a Ritz cracker, then get rid of the first part, and I get called out all the time. Think of like any other type of slur, right? People say that shit to each other all the time. None of us actually mean it. I've met some female gamers who say some really sexist shit and some racist shit as well. And it goes back and forth, you know. Like I remember, you might, if you've been on the internet a decent amount, you probably have seen the clip of like, or the post. I forget what it was exactly, but like some guy told a girl to go make him a sandwich. Typical sexist fucking statement. I think that's a lazy statement to begin with. It's not even really like really, you know. But then the woman responded with like I'm gonna fuck your dad to give him a son he actually wants. That's a fucking good comeback. But you know that's the self accountability thing, right? Men say this shit and don't realize how it comes across to other people, right? And it's hard to be like, I'm saying sexist and racist things, but I'm not racist and sexist. You know, it's not good optics. That's kind of where I was going with that. I kind of went on a little tangent there, but That's kind of where I was going with that. The third thing is self defeatism. Now, I think this is more of a human issue. Um, I'm probably gonna title this video like "The Gender War is Stupid," because it is. Um, but self defeatism is kind of stupid. But I'm gonna talk from a gender perspective, right? I see a lot of women say that they can't do something or it's harder to do something because they're a woman and not a guy. And you know what? In some cases, maybe that is true. Maybe it's harder to be a construction worker as a woman. Maybe it's harder to be in the STEM field as a woman than it is a guy. But so they just don't do it, which is stupid because like you should try. Like this is just self defeatism. Imagine if you didn't work out, like you wanted to have a good body, and you didn't work out because it was too hard, or because like I don't know, maybe you find push-ups a little extra hard. Like it's self defeatism, right? Like I have a couple medical conditions myself. I'm not in the best shape right now, obviously. I'm trying to get back into shape. I'm just starting to get on the medicine. I'm a little underweight, I like to say, or people tell me for my height, I'm 6'3". I weigh a little less than 170. Um, but yeah, people say like it's just self defeatism. Like you gotta try, right? And then on the flip side, for men, they say that like oh they won't try in school. They won't do that because it's harder for men, or they won't talk to women in public because of shit they see on the news. Which yes, it's scary seeing false accusations and or on social media people like men just looking at a woman at a gym and being called like a creep. No one wants that, right? But it's just self defeatism. Like you gotta go. You gotta go out and try. I promise you this, the general public doesn't really care. I feel like only people who are either chronically online like myself or have some kind of mental disorder like anxiety. I have a friend who has a really bad anxiety disorder, and she's a woman. And I asked her like, "Hey, would you be okay if guys cold approaching you? Like meaning like you don't know the person and they just walk up to you and ask you out or just see how you like just start talking to you." And she said no, she wouldn't like that. But I have a feeling 90 the main reason for that is because of her anxiety. And it's just a bunch of stuff like that. The fourth thing I have written down is both sides refuse to see the other. And what I mean by that is obviously back to the first point, Both sides have a good and bad in both ways. And a lot of the time, women will only see how men have a good and they have a bad, and vice versa. Men will only see how they have a bad and women have a good. And there is some truth to both of that, you know. But you gotta see the other side, right? Like, not counting the prison population, obviously, women get essayed and stuff more. Counting the prison population, men get so more. Men are also incarcerated more. They're more likely to be homeless, more likely to be poor. Women are more likely to just be viewed as like a sex object. Women are more likely to get essayed or roped. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this site. Too much. Like I've used YouTube for a long time, and they're always changing their rules, right? Um, and both sides just refuse to see the other and how they have it bad, you know. And they start pointing their fingers, and it's a big blame game, you know. Like all men are bad because like there's a few rapists or ropists. Sorry, YouTube. Um, all women are bitches because like the mo- because like a few cheated or they have it slightly easier in one way or another, right? Or they're more manipulative. It's stupid. The final point I have written down, and after this point, I also wrote down if I can think of more, I'll make another video. Is both sides? No, sorry, that's the point before that. It shouldn't matter what gender, sex you are, except for doctor slash biology and sexuality. What I mean by that is like example, right? If a couple goes to a car dealership, who does the guy talk to? Typically the guy, because guys are typically known for being more into cars and girls. And yes, there is a statistical factor to that, like that's statistically more true. But you shouldn't really walk up with the to someone with statistics in mind. A person is a person. A person is an individual. When you boil them down to statistics, you get rid of their individuality. And like the only times your sex should really matter is when whether or not the person that you want to be with is attracted to you. It's kind of hard as a woman, biological woman, to get with a gay guy. They're not really into you, and 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 doctors will always be asking you as a woman to take certain pregnancy tests here and there for things, even though you're clearly not pregnant, but it's for insurance reasons. And as a guy, we have to get tested for certain cancers more than women do. We have to. It's hard to get with a lesbian woman when you're a guy. Uh, I know it's not exactly the same thing with the doctor thing, but that's just the first thing that popped in my head. Like I said, this is more of a free form video. My thoughts aren't really written out. I just have a like like points, dot points, whatever you want to call it, on my doc right here. Um, and yeah, like people boil each other down to statistics a lot. Like someone sees a 6'3" guy like me with a beard, longer hair, and think I'm violent. People used to always think I was like intimidating when I was a lot bigger. To be fair, like weight wise, people always think I was a lot more intimidating. When I feel like I try to be the opposite. I like not to toot my own ego here, but I feel like I'm a nice guy. I don't treat people badly. I try to treat people with respect, best as I can. Obviously, I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. No one is. But there's people like that. And then as a girl, people think that you're weak and timid, but that girl might be packing fucking a Glock. Maybe that girl's a UFC champion. you know? Like when you boil down someone to statistics, this is typically a race war type thing, uh, topic, or debate point. But I think it works well here. When you boil down someone to statistics, you get rid of their individuality, worsening the quote unquote gender war. But yeah, part two, if I can think of more, maybe I'll actually like write down more of what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, I hope you all have a good time. I'm probably still just gonna be mainly uploading VODs. I don't know if I'm gonna do another video like this. I just wanted to get this off my chest because I just wanted to. Right now, I'm borrowing a Chromebook from a schooling thing I'm doing right now. So I don't know how much longer. I guarantee January 7th. Guaranteed till then. But yeah. Anyhow, I will catch you all later. Have a good day. If you're watching this at daytime, have a good night. If you're watching this at nighttime, love you all. Take care.